TVNet, which is held every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And I'm Neil VK3BCU. It's been a very challenging couple of weeks for the repeater, but we're here and the net's being run, although the repeater is sort of limping along, but it's still working, and that's great thanks to all the work that Peter's been doing. I'd also like to thank Robert VK3IE for providing a BATC feed through his station for RTV1 and 2 over the last week. It has helped certainly me being able to watch the repeater, although I can now watch it directly, seeing I've turned off most of my HDMI devices. Unfortunately, HDMI has a peak on 445.5. I'd like to acknowledge that we've got Bob 3BVR watching. I think Dennis 3YLH is watching, and I believe also Rob 3IE is watching, and latecomer Fred VK3ZAQ is also watching, and I myself and Richard on the BATC feed. So this evening I'll be putting it across to Peter on VK3R TV1, then Peter will put it across to Richard and Richard back to me. Now I must remind you that the audio level on RTV1 is low. It's not your imagination, it is very, very low. So you'll need to crank up the audio on your receiver. But when we go across to 1, take it back down again, because 1 audio is quite normal. So you're going to have to be fiddling with the volume controls this evening. So having said that, I'm sure Peter's got a lot to tell us about the repeater. So if you're ready to go, I can't watch RTV1 at the moment. I've only got 1 receiver running. Don't want to split my
Okay, thanks, Neil. That came through okay. I could fully understand you, although obviously the level is down. The audio level is down. So, what's happening shortly and what's happening now? Next Friday night, I'll be doing a presentation at the Eastern Mountain Districts Radio Club. Hopefully we'll be on air as well. I guess we can go on air anyway. I went down there today to test it and it worked okay. Albeit the audio is low, but it's still readable. But hopefully I might be able to attend to that tomorrow. I'll have to bring the controller down here to properly look at it. Can't really do it up there. It's too difficult. So yeah, there's some interesting problems there. There's low audio on RTV2, and somehow that's blocking the DTMF signals, which mystifies me, to be honest. But there it is. We don't seem to have DTMF. I'd be interested to know whether the guys on RTV2 can get through at all, although I doubt they will with the level of the audio. So that's just an interesting one. We are getting interference, particularly during the day, occasionally at night. And if you do the sums, if you divide any of the frequencies that we use by 3, you'll come right in the middle of the Motorola network, which took over 420 to 430 megs. So third harmonic from them would be hitting us big time. So I'll get contact Phil, and when he has a chance, I'll get him to just come down to the site and have a look at that and see if there is a third harmonic coming out of the Motorola system at an objectionable level. I think we have a right to non-interference, and that would be reportable to the ACMA, I would think, probably via ARBIC. But yeah, it's something I look at. And I just did the sums today, just per chance. I thought, well, hang on, what's the third harmonic of the Motorola network? And every 1246 did a lot, 1255, 1278, 1287. Divide by 3 and you're right in the middle of the Motorola network. So I think that's where that might be coming from. And it goes quiet at night because government doesn't work at night. I'm frozen. Yeah, well, I know whether I froze or it was just me. People can tell me, yeah, I think I'm moving. That was interesting.
Oh, I did too, Peter.
Well, that was interesting. Yeah. Anyway, unfortunately, I've had to pack the big PA over to the US. It went out on DHL yesterday, and it'll get there on Thursday according to DHL. But I've got a little PA here. It's not the actual one that's running up right now, which is what we're running on, which is running about 10 watts. But I've got its brother, which is really its standby unit, and they're Telstra, ex-Telstra units that Phil acquired, and I've got 4 of them actually. I've got one that I'm using right now to develop power. So I thought I'd show you that, and just as a matter of interest, you can see the little PA. They're based around a Mitsubishi module. It's the 60 watt one, and we run it at about 10 watts. So you could just guess the figures there. It's about right for that. And when right now that is right, we're on 10 watts. But when we're running it as an exciter, we're only running at 2 watts or even less. So it's pretty much pretty good linearity. 2 watts out of a 60 watt module. That's going pretty well. But of course we pay the bill in terms of power supply. But really nowadays that's not a terrible issue. It used to be when we used to build valve power supplies. It was difficult to get transformers that would develop the current that was required. But nowadays with switch mode power supplies, current's not too much of a problem. Well, excuse me while I go to my portable camera, and we'll show you. Well, I can show you big PA as well, or what's left of it. So stand by. Okay, let's get some power on camera. I can see that we're doing okay. Well, there's big PA down there. It's a very, very large heatsink, and it does service the thing pretty well. You can see the 2 coaxial leads there. The thicker one's the output, and the thinner one's the input. And there's an end connector there. There's an end connector there, but sitting on the end connector is the directional coupler. Where is it? Can't find it. Where's the directional coupler? There it is, down there. And that's where I take forward power and reverse power up, where the reverse port acts as a signal for VSWR protection, and the forward port just acts for an RF emitter. Back further, obviously there's some attenuators in the line. That's a 900 meg cellular coupler, of which there were quite a few around at the times every now and then. Okay, this is the unit that I'm talking about. It's got its own internal fan, which we can't see there, but you can see that it's circular. And it's absolutely sealed. And we've got 2 end connectors, one in and out. I'll take the top off because I undid it. And you can see that it's all properly sealed. And there's lots and lots of heatsink as well as the fan. And the Mitsubishi modules are sitting there in the middle of that arrangement. So that's what runs normally up the hill. There's one that we're using it right now. It's pumped up a bit to 10 watts. But normally that comes down to about 2 watts out of that lot to drive the big PA. So around around, I think maybe some of these might have been around the handvests. I was fortunate enough to pick up 4 of them from Phil, and what I'm using right now, I've got one spare over in the corner there, which is a 2371, and this is a 70 centimetre one that I keep spare for RTV. And I have a lot of things to do on my plate, other than amateur radio, by the way, but there's the little crankshaft, and it has arrived, and I haven't had time to even look at it, really. But we'll get there. Bob, 3 BVRs, sent me some stuff, I think, which I'm interested to have the aircraft band on it. That would be quite good and quite useful. In fact, if it transmits on that aircraft band, that would be even better. Anyway, that's it for me for tonight. Big PA down there, and big PA's power supply, and little PA, or the driver. So I think it's Richard to take it, VK3 VRS. This is VK3 BFG in Montana South.
Here we are. We're live and working. Excellent, Peter. I just noticed your audio is really overdriven. I don't know if that's because you've set it up really high or the microphone or something, but it was very, very overdriven. Hope my audio is okay. It looks like it's okay from this end, so hopefully it's coming through okay for everyone up there. Just acknowledge we've got a few visitors on Discord, so hello everyone at Discord, which is really good. Hope you're enjoying it on there. I've done a few little things, not so much ATV. There is a little bit ATV related stuff. Yeah, I've got a good tan over the last couple of weekends. But yeah, anyway, what I'll do is I'll just quickly go through what I've been up to. Right, should be.
Audio, Richard?
Yeah, no, I'm onto it, don't worry.
Audio, Richard.
There is, I can see there's audio. Rightio. So this was what I was using for quite some time.
Got audio?
Thank you. You can see a grid pack there, and you can see the tri-band antenna above it, the vertical. And then a recent addition was that panel, which is a 2.4 gig panel. That was on loan from Mark JMA. So it was very, very nice of him to loan me that just for testing. Now I had that set up, and you can see a long wire there, just going through the shot as well. So single pole with a couple of antennas on it for quite some time. That grid pack up there is what I transmit to RTV on. There's a closer shot of how I set it up with the rotator, and that's on loan from Tony. So that's Tony's rotator there. Just to get the grid pack to be able to spin. Yeah, and not too much, and you can see some wiring because everything was sort of thrown up temporarily just to get it up and seeing if 2.4, I could have some conversations on 2.4 gig. And that's where I mounted the radio. So there was a bit of a run, as you can see there's a coax run going up the pole there. Don't mind all the other junk in the background. And that was just running on 2.4 on that single pole. So thought, well, I've got to invest in something a little bit more substantial. So dug a hole, as you do. Filled it with concrete. That's my son helping me there. He does actually help me occasionally. He pretends he doesn't, but he does. And of course, when you've got a hole that deep and you probably can't quite see, but there's rag bolts sticking out of that concrete, and that hole was deeper than what you saw in the previous photo. So then up went the tower. So this is a sectional tower, and each section's 2.95 metres. So at the moment I've got two sections. And there's my son at the top, so that's just shy of 6 metres to there where he is. I'm standing on the roof taking a photo, and you see the height difference between my next door neighbour on the high side and where I'm standing. So I'm on quite a bit of a hill. Now you can see he's putting a standoff there, and the reason being is because, well, that grid pack that was on the rotator is now in a fixed position and pointing to our TV. That's what I'm currently transmitting on right now. It was a bit cloudy that day. Anyway, I also had another helper there. You might recognise him. Some people know him as VAT. So he was there helping with the erection of the tower as well. Now you might also see just past Tony, there's a couple of poles there, and there's one actually laying down on an angle. That's important shortly. What I also added to this tower, you might notice there's another standoff coming off to the, you'd be looking at it probably on the right hand side, yep. And there's a 2 metre mobile whip sticking there, and you can't quite see it because the tree that's growing that shouldn't be growing. There's also it's very hard to tell, but there's actually another HF long wire. It's actually just a dipole, so it's a full 80 metre, halfway 80 metre. So yeah, now that standoff is going to go up to the top of that tower, right underneath that plate. It's just that I put it up there because that's where I could reach from the roof. I didn't have my son on that day, but I just needed to put it up there just to test it and have that 2 metre whip up there for local traffic. So, and you can see in the background, just between the ladder and the new tower, the tower at the back, which does have, you can probably see it, a vertical on it, and also an inverted V. And there's also a camera. Now that camera is important, and if you remember that, I'll explain why. So then, of course, I had to do something for the microwave. So there's the start of the build. So you can see I'll put the tri-band antenna on there. That dish that you can see in the background there, that's actually a Wi-Fi link. So 5 gig Wi-Fi link. Anyway, so then I added grid packs and thought, running out of room here. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be able to put the grid packs on all vertically. I was starting with the highest frequency at the lowest, so 5 gig, 2.4, and then I've got another 1.2 that was going to go on there, and I thought, well, can't do that. They're not going to fit comfortably. So I had to come up with another solution. So there you go. So I mounted them across. So they're now horizontal. Still polarised horizontal as well. So you can see there, and you can see it's on a rotator, and I've still got the tri-band vertical. I believe that's an X6000 that's up there. Or is it a 7000? No, it might be 7000. Waiting for another 7000. So, like many of us are. So that's all good. All the cable that's coming from the grid pack is all LL400, and they're 3 metre lengths. Now, there's the 1.2 grid pack, which is courtesy of VK3 TWO Heath. Had that for quite some time, just waiting for it to use. In fact, I used that on the spring field day when I went and played with Gippsland Gate. I actually took that and we hoisted it right on top of their portable tower solution that they've used, and there was quite a few contacts made on a 9700 through that antenna. They were very happy because it was the only 1.2 gig that they had, so they managed to put some 23 centimetre contacts into their logs. They were quite happy. The 2.4 gig antenna is there on the left, and of course in the middle is the 5 gig. So you can see I've sort of put them all together. You'll notice that the joins aren't sealed or anything like that because it's all just trial at the moment. And of course up it went. So you can see I've got some guys holding it with those grid packs up there. There's quite a bit of wind. But now that at that point there, I should be pointing to mark JMA. So, and you can see my roof versus my next door neighbour's roof, and there's a double story behind. In to the right hand side, that's Wilson Botanic Gardens, so if anyone knows the area. And there's a sort of a bit of a close-up of the actual setup that's up there at the moment. Of course, had to be footed quite well. So that's a concrete pad. It's not actually dug a hole in there at all. That's actually just mounted on there. That's so I can tilt it down. Because it's very top heavy, I had to peg to make sure that it doesn't slide. At some stage there I'll probably be burying it or putting some substantial pins through the concrete into the ground to make sure it's very secure. It's also mounted on the roof, so it's not just guide, it's also mounted at the base here, mounted halfway up, and then guide at the top, so it's not going to go anywhere. There's the actual radio, so there's your antenna ports. I'm still not that happy that they used SMAs for an outdoor situation and something that's going to be portable. And they used obviously an N for a tri-band, which I'm only using the 1.2 on a grid pack. So I came up with a bit of a solution. So the N connectors are mounted at the top with barrel connectors, and then going through, you'll see I've actually heat shrunk them, but they're actually pigtails, so they're N to SMA, and that's just straight through. And you can see that the coax for the 1.2 23 centimetre just goes behind that box. Now that's a box that I had laying around, so just mounted it on the pole. So that was my solution, and the reason why I've done that is because I want to be able to take this unit with me to go on portable. I needed to be able to undo it fairly quickly, which meant I didn't want to have to pull the tower down every time I wanted to go portable. So I had to mount it down here, 3 metre lengths of LL400. It's not hugely lossy. So that was my decision, that I decided, well, that's the compromise. And I wasn't that keen on running LMR 400 straight into an adapter or something to get it to SMA. So the pigtails was the solution. So now I can just jump up on my roof, unbolt the actual radio unit and then undo the N connectors rather than SMAs, and then take it with me and then use the portable antennas that I intend on having. So that's what I've been up to. Yeah, and I had last Sunday I had Mark JMA help me. I do have a bit of a problem with my 2.4 gig grid. When it was laying down, it was working perfect. Like the SWR needle wasn't even moving pretty much across the band. I think the highest it got was about 1.2. As soon as it went up vertical, it's gone to infinity. So not sure why. So I've got some testing to do. I've got another grid pack, 2.4 grid pack to swap it over with. Won't be able to do that until the weekend. Got just too much on all this week, and got a chiropractor visit on Friday, which I need desperately. But yeah, so anyway, that's what I've been up to. So hopefully some people see that and like that. Now, the reason why I said that camera before on the main thing, if you have a look at the window behind me here, that's actually a live shot of my antennas, the two towers. So there's the antenna that I'm currently transmitting on, and there's the grid packs with all the ducks in a row. And you can see that it's live. So if I just come over to the rotator and rotate it, there you go. So it is very, very live. Pretty good. I can see my rotators. So that's from that camera view up on my tower. Unfortunately, you can see, well, if I flick over to it, yeah, you can see that there's actually audio. Now I've got audio. Don't worry, I'm onto it. I'm watching. You can see that there's some Cat5 cable, which actually goes to that camera, coiled up, right in the way, of course. I mean, at the time when I set all that up, I wasn't worried about pointing this direction. It was to point to the city where it normally points. So I get a view of the city and the weather and watch the helicopters and planes fly around. But, of course, it wasn't meant to be pointing that direction. So it's actually pointing through the tower at the moment. Anyway, so, alright, that's all I've got for you guys now. I'm assuming I'm passing it over to Neil, because I don't think anyone else has come up for RTV1. I thought Clint might have come up, but he must be busy. I thought he'd be champing at the bit. I'm just waiting for RTV. Oh, there he is. Alright, so if everyone wants to get very excited and switch over to RTV2, our furious leader, Neil, will be taking over, and don't forget to turn up your volume. Alright, cheers guys.
The tones, so RTV1 tones do work. And also, Richard, I believe the reason for using SMAs, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, but I believe SMAs are spec'd up to a much higher frequency than type Ns. Type Ns, I think, go up to 4 gig, I think. Anyway, you can check on that, but I'm pretty sure SMAs are spec'd up to a higher frequency, so that's why SMAs are used. Okay then, so Ian, you're next. And then if you could put it across to Mick and then back to me. If there's anyone else who would like to come up on the net, just come up on 147.4 and let us know. So, okay. So Ian, if you're ready to go, across to you, across to Mick, back to me, and then I think Peter wanted to do some tests later on, so we'll put it back to Peter possibly afterwards. So Ian, go ahead.
Good evening and welcome to television.
Good evening. It's great to be back. It's after a bit of a pause, so hopefully people I'll shout as loud as I can without going into digital distortion, but that's about as hard as I can drive it. So hopefully people are hearing something. The YouTube feed is working well, so that's the audio. I've been able to ride that quite well. And so it's good. There's lots on the YouTube actually. There's been 18 concurrent users, and some of them have been earlier Fred VK3ZAQ called in, and Claudio's on YouTube, David VK2DJV, Derek VK2DEK, and who else have I got? Steve Trebs, VK3NF, and someone from Ferntree Gully has signed in as Ferntree Gully, and Nick Presser, VK3BA, who's all excited. We'll be catching up with him at Ballarat, all being well, so that's great, Nick. And yeah, that's about, I think I've covered most people there. Derek, oh yeah, I did. That's good. All right, moving right along. Let's go for the first thing. This is a report from Rob. It's a couple of weeks old now, but it's still very relevant. I don't think I've played it yet, so let's roll with a report from Rob.
Progress report on VK3RGL digital amateur television repeater. This repeater will be located on Mount Anarchy, 60 kilometres west of Melbourne. Output will be a 50-watt DVB-T signal on 2411 MHz. Input will be on 1255 MHz and 1246 MHz for both DVB-S and DVB-T. Testing is currently on the BATC stream now. Rob has been actively working on improving the repeater's functionality, particularly focusing on revising the code that controls the repeater and the type of integration with OBS Studio. Recognizing the limitations of the previous WebSocket approach, Rob has taken advantage of OBS's built-in JIT Lua interpreter. This streamlined code has significantly improved the system's responsiveness. Rob is currently working on incorporating a 70 cm amateur band receiver that listens for DTMF commands on a 70 cm simplex channel. This receiver will allow for switching inputs and performing various functions remotely, adding even more versatility to the repeater. In the near future, Rob plans to package all these innovations, set up antennas, and offer ATV operators the opportunity to test the system at the Geelong Amateur Radio Club club rooms. Exciting times lie ahead for VK3RGL digital amateur television repeater, thanks to Rob's dedication and innovative solutions. He welcomes suggestions, thoughts and feedback on this repeater development. Robert can be contacted via any of the regular VK3RTV operators.
Connect with hams and explore treasures. Ballarat Amateur Radio Group Hamvention 10 a.m. Sunday, the 4th of February 2024. At the Ballarat Polo Cross Club Pavilion, Ballarat Airport, only $7 per person. located just 1.5 hours from Melbourne. Visit the historic gold fields of Victoria. Uncover golden treasures at bargain prices. Embrace the charm of the Country Hamfest. A day filled with fun, knowledge and catch up with friends. For more information, search for Barg Hamvention 2024 in your favourite search engine. Ballarat Amateur Radio Group Hamvention 10 a.m. Sunday the 4th of February 2024. Join our country cousins for an unforgettable day. Connect with hams and explore treasures. Ballarat Amateur Radio Group Hamvention 10 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 Amateur Radio.
Hello, I'm back. I've had to do a bit of gymnastics on switching, and actually I'll show the rear camera. Does it? That comes up, I think, yeah. So that's the rear camera, and there's a bit of a mess in trying to get it. And I'm down here to get everything sort of working. So with the reduced power, and so to fit it into all the switching and control gear, it's been quite interesting challenge, and yes, there's a bit of a hatchet job on the switching system. The switching system's here, which only got about, well, I'm only using about 100 buttons, and I always seem to press the wrong one at the inappropriate time. So there you are. All right, I am chewing up time. I've been on air for 7 minutes and 5 seconds, so I might keep moving. The next thing is the Dubis.
Dubis Magazine is an international amateur radio magazine, intended for the VHF and above operator. Published in Germany by not-for-profit editors, is bilingual. There are 4 issues a year, each of over 105 pages, which are devoted to mix of state-of-the-art technical articles and DX operating. The subscriptions are approximately $50 a year for 4 editions, air-mailed to your door, organised via our very own honorary VK Dubis representative VK3XPD. Details on the www.dubis.org webpage.
WARC Hamfest 2024, the only Western Suburbs Hamfest, it's on again. Sunday the 25th of February at the Rowsley Memorial Hall. Large undercover indoor venue. Heaps of free parking. Entry is still only $7. This is a new venue, approximately 1 hour west of Melbourne. 10 a.m. Sunday the 25th of February.
So there you are. That's 3 weeks after the Ballarat one, which is next Sunday, and then there's 3 weeks later is the Wansac, Wark, I suppose it is. All right. Yes, and the time is, if you can see, it's down there. Down there. And I'm 9 minutes in. Let's see if we can run with a quiz and get over to Mick soon. So you're about one and a bit minutes off Mick. going to throw to me quicker than that. Very good. All right, I'll sign off and hand it over to Mick, VK3CH. So Mick, you might roll your transmitter and I'll drop carrier on the end of transmission signal.
Okay. All right. I heard the signals on VK3RTV1 not too bad, but on RTV2 very soft. Had to have the computer up full blast, and even then pretty fine. So I will make it short and to the point. And if I do this, well, I've got to do that as well. Okay. I'll just show a few pictures of what we've done. Last week I was talking about how I had a panel and it said 2 or 5 gigahertz, 2.4 and 5.7, and it said multiple input, multiple output. Well, on each end connector, that's what you see. There's 2 separate boards, so obviously they can be used on either band. So that's what it looks like inside, and there's a side view of what's inside of it. So there you go, in case you were wondering, because I couldn't find anything on the internet to explain it. What else have we got? This is a new dish that's turned up from America. It's dual band. It's both 5 gigahertz and 10 gigahertz. So that's sort of, economy, two bands in the one, and it's very lightweight. Now if I push this button and I lift that up, that's what it sort of looks like. So I can't really get it, or can I? Look, you'll see all about it in the next issue of the newsletter we write. So that turned up about a week ago. So there you go. Now if I go back to where we were, that is a spacer, and the thing that it's glued to is a 3.4 gigahertz transverter from SG Labs with a very thin bit of JB Weld. So they're not going to part company very soon. And today, that was one of the 1.8 metre pipe from Bunnings, galvanised pipe, sort of lightweight fencing post that's been cut with an angle grinder. This workshop, this guy I know in Thomastown, when we used to have the warehouse out there. So he made 3 seconds work of that. That's the end of one of the pipes. That's going to be a portable radio setup. So I'm grabbing the ID 5100 that was underneath the table here, as we've got plenty of 270 centimetre stuff. That's the top bracket. It's got a couple of what do you call it? Rivets, pop rivets, and just a little bit of JB Weld, which will dry just to make sure it doesn't come off, because the pop rivets might wear. And further down, if you can sort of see where the mouse is moving, that's where the magnetic bracket, where those with those 2 magnet things with the radio head actually sits. And as you can see, there's a little groove cut in there. That's where the 13.8 volt cable will all be wrapped up in the fuses and stuff and stay in there. Here's the 3.4 gigahertz dish on the cut down mast, and there's a side view of it, and there's a close view. So underneath there is the SG Labs transverter, so you can see there's the input going straight into the grid pack, so hopefully that won't introduce too much loss. And then the output's going through a 10 watt 3 dB attenuator The idea being is if I use an IC905 at 10 watts, that will drop it down to 5 watts. So if there's any ALC spike, it won't hurt the transverter. That will also introduce a 3 dB receive signal loss, but I'm told that that shouldn't be too much of a drama. And I think that's the end of my photographs. Yes, it is. So that's what we've been up to in the last couple of weeks. So just in case my audio is impossible to hear, I'll leave it at that. So I'll put it back to Neil VK3BCU. So yes, I'm going to Ballarat this weekend. So wherever you guys are going, I've only got one table. Very interested in seeing the microwave table setup with Nick VK3BA, and I'm bringing along a little bit of stuff to demonstrate the 24 gig ATV dishes, or one of them. So we might see you there, and we'll leave the XYL in charge of the table when we're otherwise absent. Okay, over to you, Neil. See you guys on Saturday. Cheers.
Right, thanks for that, Mick, and good work with the microwave stuff. They're looking forward to working on 3.4, so that's always running in the shack, or at least normally it is. It's turned off at the moment because I've turned off a lot of stuff to be able to receive the repeater. I'll be at Ballarat, and in fact there'll be a lot of ATVs at Ballarat, I'm sure. It's usually a little gathering of ATVs when we go to the Hamfest, so looking forward to catching up with everyone at Ballarat, and more than likely I think some people have barbecues afterwards. Either way, we'll be going out for lunch somewhere, so we'll talk about that on Sunday. So thanks everyone for watching. I believe there's a lot on Ian's YouTube, so that's fantastic. So tune in next week. It's unfortunate the SRT isn't working, and we haven't got the VK2s because they really add another dimension to the net. So it's really a shame that they can't come up, but maybe in the next few weeks they'll be able to come up. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you all next week. We'll see you in Ballarat. And Peter, if you want to do some tests afterwards, I'll be around to do some tests with the audio levels. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Oh. Okay, let's see how that is. 3 BCU VK, 3 BFG.
Sounds good, Peter.
Yeah, okay. Yep. I'm using a new lapel mic, Richard. What am I talking about? Saturday week. No, Sunday. We would have to be wheels up at 8 o'clock from Moorabbin.
Okay, so have you seen the weather forecast?
Hot. bring water.
And very, very windy.
Oh, is it? Oh, as well. Oh, great. Oh well, yeah. Well, I have to go over there. I mean, you can not go if you think it's going to be too rough or whatever. In fact, I mightn't go even if it's too rough. But I think it should be all right. The usual build up. I think there's. Didn't the bureau say there's going to be a south change in the day, in the middle of the day or something? Anyway.
Yeah, apparently on Sunday it's going to be very, very windy.
Right, all right, just great. Well, it's usually northerly, and there's the airstrips are north-south. Okay, we can deal with that anyway. Hello, I've just gone black. I shouldn't have gone black.
So you've been black the whole time?
Oh, have I? Oh, so I have. Yeah, I know why. Why? Because that camera has conked out up there. So that's okay. No, it hasn't. It's just that I'm on the wrong program. We could fix that. We should be on that one. Yeah, that's the one. Now I should be on the camera I was looking at that wasn't working. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good now.
Yep. Okay. Thanks for the feedback, Richard. You never really know yourself. And just a new little lapel that's sitting there. And it's wireless. So just got to remember to charge it every now and then. Okay.
Yeah, it was really overdriven. It's just on the peak now.
Yeah, I can actually see.
It's acceptable.
Yeah. Stop that bit down a little. Oh, I know what I can do here. Pull that back. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. How's that now? No, that's just hitting it again. Coming back. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Sit down in your normal position so we can tell.
Yeah. Okay, that should be okay. It's just up to nearly 0 VU, but not quite. According to the ATEM Mini, anyway.
Yeah, it sounds alright. It's acceptable. It's just on the peak. Just
Yeah.
a couple of little peaks on it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we can throttle it back a bit
But
more.
it's going to be hard to tell. I'm not sure if it's the repeater or your audio.
Well, I can see it hitting the red. I can back it back a little bit more. Off there. And 1, 2, 3. Now it's not hitting the red according to me. That be right?
Yeah, no, it's not peaking now, so that's good.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thanks, Richard. So, have you decided whether you're coming or not, or are you sort of ambivalent? Look, if it's going to be,
Well, the wife is a little bit nervous about it being windy, so I'll just wait and see what the weather forecast is when it gets a bit closer.
who's worried?
The XYL.
Oh, for you. Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, sure. All it means is that you get a few bumps, but yeah, we've been.
Yeah, the bumps are fine. We had some bumps another time when we went on a flight.
Yeah. When it's windy like that, it's usually northerly, and that's pretty much straight up and down the runway. So it's although it makes it interesting, but we're in the low wing Cherokee, which is a lot easier to manage in those conditions than the Cessna. The Cessna in those conditions is a real handful, that's for sure. Okay.
Yeah, well, I think last time when I was piloting, we had a few little pockets of bumps. I managed in the Cessna all right.
Yeah. Anyway, if you're anyway intrepid, don't hesitate just to call us and say, no, I'm not coming. That's okay. Not a problem.
I'll let you know towards the end of the week.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I'm off for a cup of tea and a bit of liaison inside. Thanks for the audio check there, Richard. That's good.